You know, if you guys are gonna torture me, then at least watch more than 2 of my reviews. So I'm just gonna start out by saying this, in terms of stuff that a lot of people like to rant on, I kind of avoid that in terms of my videos. There's maybe 2 more I'm doing after this, but aside from that, I think a lot of these are just kind of overdone and oversaturated, because who loves hearing the 50th video about how Teen Titans Go sucks? Forget that actual people who actually had fun working on this worked on this show, let's just rant about it 50 more times to get that sweet YouTube ad revenue. I also want to state that I was avoiding this reboot like the frickin' plague after it came out. I mean, like, I saw a few shorts when it came out, but that was about it because I pretty much heard every single thing wrong with it right after. I mean, did anyone really want a Powerpuff Girls reboot with creepy self-inserts, terrible animation, and clearly being rushed for the sake of merchandising? Yeah, I just rewatched the original thanks to a VHS run over at the thrift shop. But apparently this got a TV movie somehow, so I gotta review it now, because I guess I'm doing a lot of TV movies on this show right now, even though there's only like 2 videos people actually watch. But before I talk about it, there's a couple of warnings I want to establish. To any parents or kids watching this video, I would click off right now. There's going to be some foul language throughout this, so just watch a Cartoonia video or something family friendly. And considering the kind of video I'm doing, which is probably going to attract a certain kind of audience, I would like to state that this is not intended to be an attack on the people at Cartoon Network Studios. No matter what I say about this movie, I do still feel that there are genuinely talented people involved on this, and I would hate them to feel like they have to take the blame for this. So to any of you obsessive cartoon reviewers or cartoon fans who are gonna try and use this as played as Powerpuff Girls 2016 needs to die, please do not use this as an attack towards the crew. I'm just giving my thoughts on a really stupid TV movie. So, now that that's out of the way, holy fuck was this awful! I mean, I've seen some terrible made-for-the-merch TV movies in my time, but I have never come across such a disgraceful, rushed, horribly handled Mary Sue featuring—
Jesus Christ, calm down, man. The movie was terrible, but getting your nads in a twist isn't gonna help much.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you're right, that was a little excessive. Thank you, Saul of YouTube's Eye of Saul.
Anytime! Am I getting paid for this cameo?
So instead of screaming at a TV movie that's practically worthless like a frickin' banshee, I'm instead going to do my best to calmly explain why this is a perfect example of a terrible reboot, a terrible TV movie, and an utterly pathetic attempt at trying to keep a dying show alive. So the movie kicks off exactly how every single one of these awful TV movies start off with, thrusting you into a situation or conversation you're barely going to care about. Except take that conversation or situation and make it 11 minutes long. So basically, Bubbles is causing a lot of bad stuff to happen, like accidents around the house, and she's blaming on her imaginary friends, and yada yada yada. Some rubber hose there at tow truck for no real given reason comes to life and starts attacking them while watching the movie. And then, oh boy, in comes the literal DeviantArt OC herself, Bliss. She just like, poof, goes right in. Terrible design and all. Oh, and I guess she's voiced by Marceline. We learned that she was one of the first Powerpuff Girls that was apparently made by Professor Utonium with the same recipe as the original girls, except with Chemical W. This point being the actual point where I asked myself, did they basically just steal someone's frickin' DeviantArt fanfiction and slap a storyboard on it? And this is also where the movie pretty much splits into 2 different levels of terrible. It's either boring-ass, dragged-out filler fatally attempting to be Steven Universe's writing style but failing miserably, or just the most fanfiction-y pile of garbage put to television with the most Mary Sue-y character you could possibly create. She's super strong and cool and smart, but her emotions are too out of control, and then she has them randomly in control now, and she has a tiny elephant, but the elephant turns out to be evil, and also it turns out to be him, which doesn't make any sense. How did he seriously stay there with her for like 15 years while other episodes where he was involved, like, what? How does this make sense? But then him uses Bliss to fuse with him, making like a super himbless, and did I mention this made it to goddamn television, people? Like, I'm not making this up on the spot like a joke. This is actually how the character in the movie plays out. It's just like a giant, terrible fanfiction.net adaptation, except Cartoon Network went, you know what, we need a new character for t-shirts. Let's just throw this in together. What is even going on? Now, part of why I don't even recommend this as a so bad it's good special is, to put it simply, when it's not focusing on some of the stupidest stuff I've ever seen for an official television series, it's really frickin' boring. Like, putting aside the stiff and rushed animation and the bland direction, most of this movie is just the characters talking to each other about problems and clothes and if Bliss can be a Powerpuff Girl, and really bad attempts at original villains, and whereas all the funny humor and violence that made the show great. I'm not the kind of person that really gets mad at cartoons because I think that's kind of like really dumb. Like, I don't go to a bad SpongeBob episode and just immediately go, "This is the worst episode ever, it's terrible!" But holy Christ, was this thing a legitimate slog to watch with all the horrible pacing. I seriously remember feeling physically ill while watching this thing. Like, I felt my eyes just kind of like sink in, like, God, when was this thing gonna end? I didn't even feel like I was watching an actual TV movie most of the time. Even with something like My Gym Partner's a Monkey in the Big Field Trip, another example from Cartoon Network of a pretty bad TV movie, you still got the feeling it was at least produced as one proper continuing story for that length, despite all the filler and subplots. Granted, the Big Field Trip is a pretty overstretched pile of garbage, but it was at least something that felt like it was written as a 40-minute episode. Power 4, on the other hand, just felt like a lame, needlessly padded episode arc that was thrown up as a TV movie at the last minute. And from what I could tell, that's exactly what this was. Yeah, it turns out the movie was just 5 separate episodes edited together as a movie, not unlike that whole Battle of Muni special I did my very first review of this series on. Now, this amount of episodes is typically the length that's used for the Stevenbomb format, a week-long dumping of episodes or story arc that usually boosts ratings for a show, made famous by the fact that Steven Universe did this first, and then every other Cartoon Network show and every other network show kind of followed with this. So either Cartoon Network wanted some of that sweet bandwagon revenue by doing a similar movie as the Star vs. one, or they knew this reboot was such an absolute failure that they just decided to dump the whole arc all at once. And from what I read up about this season in terms of advertising, it seems incredibly blatant that they want to get rid of this embarrassment on the network as soon as possible. To be honest though, TV, movie, or 5 episodes or not, this wouldn't have been as bad if it was an actually original plotline they were using. The idea of doing a diverse Powerpuff Girl is at least interesting enough for an episode, but is it really worth it for an hour-long special? Especially considering the original show didn't really make a big deal out of their 4th Powerpuff Girl episode? And also, did you have to make it even more obvious that you guys are trying to cash in on Steven Universe by literally doing an entire scene from it? Like, I'm seriously glad I wasn't the only one who noticed this was just a tiny bit too similar to Jailbreak. And even regarding the execution of the bombs, even Steven Universe most of the time knows how to handle these later bombs. Like, they actually know how to properly structure them and make them flow decently. Like, you could have aired Wanted as a TV movie for all I cared, and it would still kind of work. I mean, I may not as be a major Steven Universe fan as I used to. Heck, I helped out with a whole rant video about it, kind of highlighting a lot of its flaws, but there are still some things I feel it does legitimately well, and when it's actually being given the right plotline for it, these specials are actually something that it can do pretty decently. But Power of 4 can't simply fall into that category of 5 episodes that could also work in a TV movie. All I see is just a bland, rushed 5-episode arc that literally exists just to sell some new t-shirts in the Cartoon Network shop.
Milan, wait!
Oh god, I booked 2 cameos for this review?
I cannot let you review this train wreck alone.
Lachie, you don't even have a review channel set up. Did you seriously just come here wanting to take this over for me to start your own thing?
Yes, that's right. I shall review the 2011 Little Engine That Could movie with you. I mean, honestly, it's not that bad, but yeah, it is still pretty bad.
What the hell? Did you even read what we're doing? We're not reviewing that! I mean, granted, it may not get us some decent views, but like, we're not doing that!
We're not? Oh. What are you reviewing then?
That really stupid Powerpuff Girls special that just came out with the failed attempt at diversity that was really just a huge stunt to sell some merchandise.
Listen, I need to go down this elevator real quick.
We never had one in wherever the hell this is, and that's just an open shaft.
Hey, it's quicker.
Well, I'm never doing cameos in these reviews again. But to get back on topic, though, the marketing for this was kind of friggin' terrible. I'm sorry, but as someone currently majoring in college for this field, even for a crappy-as-hell 5-episode compilation movie, this was just really shitty advertising. Typically, whenever you get a TV, movie, or a major tentpole event, you usually start rolling out on-air advertising and general advertising for it at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance. I mean, you can make as many Teen Titans Go hate videos as you want, but at least they're pretty competent when it comes to advertising their specials, you know, when they're not completely plugging up the schedule. A pretty good example of this is the Island Adventures miniseries that they started promoting around the same time as the Summer of Steven marathon. I never saw it, but I'd be lying if I wasn't at the very least a little intrigued by it. I mean, it's a cute concept and there's a few funny little visuals now and then. It's one of those shows where like every dozen bad episodes it has maybe 1 or 2 that have a funny joke and 1 or 2 funny concepts. I don't know, that's probably just me. I'm probably gonna get lynched for this. So, what did the Power of 4 special get? 11 whole days of advertising, a few clickbait posts, and a single commercial that ran for a mere week. This is something they wanted to treat as a big international tentpole with different celebrity voiceovers around the world for the big shiny new Token Mary Zoo character they wanted to throw into a bunch of t-shirts. That is the literal reason this character exists. I don't want to simply blame Cartoon Network's current marketing staff, since they've proven to be decent at marketing their shows given how OKKO's been handled so far, but it was kind of funny thinking about their initial commercials to the series and how it actually got us a tiny bit excited, like, wow, they're coming back, it's a big deal, look at all the characters reacting. But using it again in the one commercial leading up to the special just felt like, come on guys, we're still with the cool kids, but please watch us, just please, to watch our special! Come on! With everything connecting to the special, from the rushed writing to the last-minute compilation and the whole Bliss character pretty much being something that was done for the merch, it just feels like a last-minute rating stunt they pulled just to keep the show alive. I mean, there were possibly people working on the show that were really excited about showing Bliss, and if you were one of those people, then that's fine, it's perfectly okay. But honestly, I just saw this as nothing more than a last-minute stunt that Cartoon Network pulled to keep their big merch-selling reboot running. And what a surprise, it kind of failed, barely even cracking 1 million viewers. This was a 5-episode long TV movie special, and it still ended up doing really low in ratings. To be completely honest, this is quite possibly one of the biggest embarrassments of the hard work that Cartoon Network and its teams tend to put into their shows, and not at all something I personally recommend. Once again, I'm not pinning the blame on the crew behind the show for this, as they all have a decent range of talent and skill, but more the executives or network who put this team together that felt the majority of what they did with this reboot was a smart idea. Steven Universe is successful, so let's have the Powerpuff Girls throw in a one-off to keep our rapidly dying merch line alive. This movie is an unwatchable mess, and I don't recommend this or the series it's a part of in the slightest. Cartoon Network still has a lot of genuinely good shows running, and I feel those deserve more support than this unwatchable train wreck. I hope the crewmates end up working on much better shows, and I really hope this is the final nail in the coffin for such a train wreck and insult to such a great series. Alright, I got this freaking video out already. Alright, I'm gonna go take a couple of weeks off for myself. Like, I got schoolwork to do. I'll see you guys later. Hey everybody, before I go, there's just a couple of thank yous I want to get out to a few really cool people. Special thanks goes out to Lachie and Eye of Soul for recording cameos to this video. I'm gonna link both their channels in the description. And a huge thank you to RoboBuddies who did a ton of new art for this video, like 14 new sprites. Oh my god, and they look amazing. Look at this. This looks awesome, man. You're amazing. I helped her out with a Steven Universe rant recently, which you should totally check out. Oh, and we did a few collab videos. They're really great. But alas, I have college stuff to do, so I'll have to see you guys later. I'll be back in a few weeks with some more Milan's Rambling stuff, but there's more Cartoonia stuff on the way, so see you guys later.
You can knock it, you can rock it, you